Okay, welcome to the 19th of May Arts and Culture Commission meeting. It is 6:32 p.m. and I call the meeting to order. May I pass this to our liaison for the roll call?
Yes, thank you, Chair Rora. We have Commissioner Ponda,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamba. Yes. Welcome back, by the way. Thank you. Commissioner Chen, welcome.
That's landing.
I just landed.
Oh,
Hope you're not jet lagged.
a little bit.
Bye, Shilong. Okay, and Chair Rora.
Present.
All here, 5-0.
Okay, so look at the agenda. Okay, so we all have received the agenda by email already prior to the meeting. And so the first item of order is approval of minutes. So the subject may approval of the March 24th, 2025 Arts and Culture Commission meeting minutes.
I have a question on that.
Okay,
Yeah, so it says here, I'm looking at the minutes, it says, no's is none, but abstain is Lamba and Panda. And absent is Chen. I believe we were both present. Having said that, this is probably because we were not present in the previous one, and this was to approve minutes of the November meeting. We weren't part of the commission list, right?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, yeah.
But I guess the issue is, according to the minutes, it said the motion failed. Is that true?
That is true. So what we could do, let's do this. So the agenda was published. I did speak with the city clerk. What we could do is maybe bring those minutes back from the March. No, I'm sorry, for the
November.
November meeting.
Correct.
And then we can vote on it. And then in that case, because all five can vote on that. In that case, so she clarified that that's possible. So when we do this, we'll bring it back in July, the November minutes. What a more unusual situation that we've had.
we get it all squared away.
Okay. Other than that, any comments that we know?
Otherwise, we ask for a motion.
I can suggest a motion. I was present last time, so yes, you can go ahead.
The motion,
I second.
Commissioner
Right.
Commissioner Lamba, second. Take a vote.
Yes,
Vote.
please.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay. Can you, Commissioner, can you have to abstain from this one? So it'll be 4-0-1.
First time. Sorry about
4-0. Okay. Chair Rora, just as we discussed before, do you want to,
Okay, yeah.
it's up to you, if you want to switch new business with old business, so we can start with the presentation?
Okay. What about the written communication?
Oh, thank you. No written communications,
Okay, consent calendar.
nothing of consent.
Okay. So then we come to item number 2, which comes under old business. And then we also have a new business item, item number 3. And that constitutes a presentation of SV Creates, our guest speakers here today. So my proposal was, could we move this up to the agenda if all commissioners agree? But that is a proposal, then we give them a chance to present first and leave when the agenda item is done.
Yep,
Sure.
makes sense.
Okay, take a vote?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
Aye.
Thanks.
motion second, all in favor?
Yes.
Very good. 5-0.
Do we say aye or do we say yes?
Aye or yes? I don't factor. Okay, so with that, we move to our agenda item 3, new business presentation by SV Creates. And we have here 2 guests, I believe. One is Jessica Kwong, who will be presenting. Okay, and please introduce yourselves as you come and start your presentation. Thank you.
So I'm Alexandra Urbanowski. CEO of SB Creative, and just Fawns as community engagement manager, and slide and started. Well,
Yeah, let's see. Yep.
slide.
Perfect.
Man, that's big.
Yay.
So.
Awesome job.
I've had some tech trouble before. Like, I think
I was there, I was wondering how you managed it, so I would have to appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you for having us here today. We're really excited to meet all of you. Some of you we've met, Jessica and I have met before, but really a chance to say a little about us and how we can help you and all of that. So we're going to do a little presentation about who SB Creates is, what we do, and then hopefully have a little time to have questions and answers and discussions because we'd love to hear from you, how we can help your goals as an arts commission. So that's what we're going to do today. Our presentation is probably about 25 to 30 minutes, and then we'll have time for really hearing from you and talk about how we're working your steps. We go next slide. There's really us. So that's us. At SB Creates, we have a pretty small team. We have a small staff. I think we currently have 6 people on staff. I've been the CEO for about a year and a half. I was deputy director for 6 years. Prior to that, my background is arts administration and community development work, mostly here in Santa Clara County, but also other places. And Jessica has been our community engagement since October, but she worked at the San Jose Museum of Art before. So that's kind of who we are. All right, go on to the real stuff. So next slide. So just to tell you a little bit of background, so we were founded in the 1980s as the Arts Council of Santa Clara County. So at that time, in the mid-1980s, the California Arts Council, which is the state agency for the arts, asked each county to designate an official county arts agency to receive state funds and distribute them to the county. And every county in the state now has a designated agency. Most are independent nonprofit agencies, which we are. But we operate under a formal contract with the County Board of Supervisors to do grant making and other arts programs for the county. The county doesn't have an internal cultural affairs office like some of the cities do, and many counties in the state, so many of them just have there's a nonprofit like us that they contract with. So that's kind of why we are here. We merged with an organization called First Act in 27, which was a special initiative to do some one-time arts projects in the city of San Jose. So that merged in, and that's where the name SB Creates came out of, the merged organization. So that's sort of our history. So over that, and go to the next slide. So over that 40-something years, we have done supporting arts throughout the county in a range of ways, grant making, policy, advocacy, a lot of different ways. But over the past about 6 years, we've done a lot of work to assess how to serve, aligning with the goals of the supervisors and the county, and how to strengthen the arts. We've made a lot of shifts in our programs to be more equitable in our distribution of resources and then meet the needs we've identified through research. I'm going to show you some of our research. One of these shifts, though, includes supporting all the individual cities in the county. So this leads to why we're here today. When we did this kind of audit of our 40 years, it became clear that for that history, we had been focusing mostly on the greater San Jose area in terms of where we deployed our resources. And our board came back and said, well, that's not right. We're countywide. And actually, the city of San Jose has more resources for the arts than all the other cities. So we should be really looking at how we can form relationships with other cities in the county. Better job of that. So that's how we kind of reshape. Yeah.
Quick question. So you are contracted by Santa Clara County?
We have a contract with the
You're
Santa Clara
contractor.
County.
You're the prime contractor
We are the contractor for arts.
for arts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So your funding comes from the county?
not all of it, but some of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
So we'll talk a little bit more about that.
All right.
But I can just give you the high level overview. So the county has a arts funding source that was dedicated by the voters in the 1980s.
Okay.
It's the hotel tax from the properties in the
Yes.
unincorporated parts of the county. So in Cupertino, you keep your own hotel tax, San Jose, they keep their own, but there's some unincorporated properties. It's not a lot of money. It's mostly a couple of golf courses in the San Martin area, some RV parks, some Airbnbs in the South County. A lot of that area is South County or the Santa Cruz Mountains, but it's still in Santa Clara County. So that money was designated by voters in the 80s to be for the arts. So that money comes to us. We use it primarily for regranting. We leverage that money to raise some other funds from foundation partners, the state of California, the federal government up until last week. And so we leverage that. So of our budget, about a third A little over a third comes from county funding and the other from money. We use that to get grant making and the programs which Jessica's gonna tell you kind of what we do.
Question, are you the only body, I mean, doing this thing, or do we have other people, other groups also doing similar stuff for the county and for Cupertino?
We are the designated county
Okay.
agency. We're designated by the state of California
Got
and also by the county to do this work. Doesn't mean there are not other people that do arts related support, but we're. So, and I'll tell you a little bit more about when we talk about the Municipal Arts Roundtable. Some of you know about how we're trying to support each city and the work that you do in each city within the county. So I want to tell you a little bit about one of our recent big research projects. So we've done research, community engagement, go to the next slide, and surveying to inform how we design our programs and how we do our grant making. And I'm going to share with you some highlights. You have this full publication there. This was a 2021 research publication that helped us understand the characteristics and demographics of the arts ecosystem and helped us look at how we design our programs and how we're really trying to serve. So this is the publication that we released with the Silicon Valley Business Journal in 2021, using 2019 and 2020 data. There was actually a much fuller research report for any of you who are really wonky data people. It's on our website. There's a full report. But I just want to hit a couple of highlights. And some of these things you probably know, why? Because I know some of you are artists and you're involved in the arts community, and so you sort of know some of these things. But there are things that are not evident to people who support the arts necessarily in our county if you don't know about it. So one is that our arts community is really diverse in many ways. It's really vibrant, but it's not always visible to folks not engaged with it. So many of our arts groups are culturally specific. They're dedicated to preserving traditions and heritage. So they speak only to a very specific community. Many groups are volunteer-led with no paid staff. They provide opportunities for creative self-expression. We have dozens and dozens of volunteer choirs, music groups, and dance troupes, for example. And some of you may be involved with some of those. And they're really small. So if we go to the next slide, they're really small. So 92% of the nonprofit arts groups in our county have budgets under $500,000 annual budgets, and 67% of that are actually under $50,000 a year. Those are their budgets. Really different from places like San Francisco, or New York, or Boston, or Chicago, or many, many other places. And so when we look at what does our arts ecosystem look like? We're trying to support this web of lots of them. There are a lot of them, over 1,000 nonprofit arts groups in the county, but they're very small. I think we go to the next slide, if that shows that a little bit more. So there you go. This is city. This is by city, not county. But in the city, we only have three. At the time of this research, only 3 groups in the city of San Jose. Budgets over $5 million. In the county, I think it's maybe 7. So then you add in places like Villa Montalvo and School of Music and the Arts, so they're also large. But actually, the biggest groups in our cultural community are tech-oriented, like the Computer History Museum and the Tech Museum. If they're not sort of what you might think of more traditional arts groups. Also really diverse. In terms of the cultural traditions, you go to the next slide, the cultural traditions that they represent. So this is actually demographics of the county. I know this is a really confusing slide to look at. I could just not use my whole background there. But it does just, which you probably all know about, it just shows like over this, 50-year period of time, 60-year period, how just the cultural change in the demographics of St. Clair County, right? We've had a lot of immigration, a lot of people moving in here. So there's a much wider range of cultures demographically represented. And what we've seen over this last 10 years also is, if you go to the next slide, seen it represented in how the development of our nonprofit arts groups. So this is showing kind of the difference in the 10-year period. There's been growth in arts groups in general. This is nonprofit arts groups because that's what our researchers are able to look at from tax rolls. It's not artists or collectives that are interested, but we've seen a growth in all arts groups, but also specifically more mirroring the demographics of the community in terms of who's here and cultures that we want to have represented in the artistic discipline that we in the community. Big growth in dance groups that are preserving cultural traditions, Indian dance groups, South Asian arts organizations. So that's kind of the cultural landscape. And then the other thing, if you go to the next slide, and these are all charts that are in this publication, you can look through, and there are many others. The other thing here is that our groups have always been super nimble and entrepreneurial because they're small. And as the wider society and business world has moved towards the right side of this diagram, which represents the qualities of a 24th century workforce and economy, our groups have been ahead of this curve. Our small groups have always been entrepreneurial. They've always been decentralized in terms of where they are. We don't like, even if San Jose tries to say it's sort of the capital of something, our arts groups are not concentrated there. There are a few venues that are dispersed. Always been about cultural identity and relevance, always been about people, not about buildings and kind of steps. So we've been ahead in that way and underfunded and undercapitalized, so it's meant to be a little bit involved. So, given what we know about all this and a lot of other research we've done, including with the sector, go to the next slide. We've established 3 strategies to advance our mission of elevating the arts ecosystem in county. And when Jessica talks about the programs that people do, you'll see they align very specifically with these 3 strategies. So we build the capacity by supporting arts organizations, that's through grant making and other kinds of technical support. We raise visibility by uplifting individual artists. Jessica will talk about our magazine that does that. And we increase access to the arts for higher need populations by supporting a number of arts education and other special projects. And that's a particular priority for our county and our county board of supervisors to make sure that we find ways for arts to serve building a healthy community. For us, that's really what the end goal is about. It's not art for sort of art. It's art to help us build a healthy community in all the ways that you know that because you're here. You wouldn't be on the Arts Commission, right? If you didn't want to have those kind of values. So next slide. So within that, all our strategies, all our programs are designed to meet one or more of these 3 goals, which our board adopted about 5 years ago. And I'm just going to mention that are really core to all the things that we do. And whenever we look at a new initiative or someone approaches us from city or somewhere else to say, here's an arts thing, you should get involved. We have to not measure them against this and say, are they doing one or more of these things? So the first is about cultivating and advancing the arts ecosystem that reflects the full diversity. So all those cultural backgrounds, all the artistic disciplines, all the geographies from, our county goes from Palo Alto to Gilroy, from Saratoga to Milpitas. This is a very, very place that we're in. So that's the diversity. And the second one is trying to move more resources to those historically under-resourced arts ecosystem, whether those are particular cultural communities or their geographies. Done a lot of work in the past, for example, in Gilroy, which is very agricultural community. Rural agricultural has been really under-resourced in every way, not just the arts. So we've done some work there. And then the last one is really about, and again, this is a priority of the County Board of Supervisors, speaks a lot to arts education, particularly in lower income schools, and then mention about some of the programs we do. So these are the things that we really keep in mind as we design our programs. Jessica's going to talk a little bit about the programs. I think we can go to the next slide. She's going to kind of give you an overview of our 3 program areas that align with those goals. And then we'll talk about how we'll talk more about how these are open to the arts and cultural community in your city, how we want to make sure that we're making them available and doing the right outreach in this city so that we're getting more artists and arts groups to be supported. So Jessica.
Great. So ArtsWeb is the program that addresses our first strategy of building capacity. So this is our largest program area, and we do this through a variety of offerings. First off, we have a grant program, which includes a countywide operating grant that arts groups in the county can apply to, including Cupertino. We have about 75 small to mid-sized arts boards in this grant portfolio. Representatives from our grant team arts organizations are invited to roundtables where they can work together, share resources, and local partnerships and collaborations. We also provide workshops for local arts leaders on technical and administrative skills. So if you go to the next slide, this is just an example of one of our unrestricted operating grantees, Teatro Vision, a local Latino theater group. Slide.
So just one question. So this is not just for the visual arts, it's also the performing arts, that's what I guess. So what kind of other features are included in your repertoire? Like performing arts, music, art, dance, everything is like inclusive?
All of those.
All of
Literary arts, media arts, performing art, dance, music, theater. I think if you look.
Yeah, I see.
I don't have the list of that. Do we know, we don't have the list. So this is our annual report. If you look at this, we're talking about these three areas, just talking about represented here. You can see some of them, but our website, if you go. So the over 70 arts,
Right.
that's bph.org.
So if you go to the next slide. So we hold an annual town hall conference for our grantees as well. So this year's town hall, workshop on collaboration skills. And then we also offer coaching and consultant referrals for our arts groups. Next slide, please. And then moving on, Concept Magazine addresses our second strategy of raising the voices. Arts. So we feature local creatives and upcoming arts events through a quarterly print magazine, a weekly newsletter, and semi-weekly podcasts. The magazine uplifts our artistic community by both featuring artists in the magazine and then also inviting artists to contribute as writers, designers, editors, and photographers. So these are opportunities that help artists stay in our county, but they also help the residents throughout the county know that there are artists living and working here. So content media is how we support individual artists. And as arts commissioners, you'll also receive a complimentary subscription to the magazine. I can set that up for you after this meeting. And then we also celebrate issue releases with our content pickup parties. So the next one is August 21st in Morgan Hill, and that will honor the 3 winners of our Emerging Artist Award. So actually, some of the Cupertino Distinguished Artist Award winners have been featured in content magazine as well. That's the next slide. Another winner. Guys, slide. So our third big strategy is increasing access to arts. So we have arts education initiatives to ensure that the arts are incorporated into all aspects of community life and that they're used to strengthen the health of our communities. So one example of this is our Arts Ed Connect grants. We do these in partnership with the Santa Clara County Office of Education, where we award mini grants to teachers who are shopping for creative opportunities for the students. So for example, High is actually a recipient of this grant. They got a grant to provide arts education from the San Jose Museum of Art. We also award arts access grants to provide project support for programming that's specifically designed in which funding is underserved audiences. For example, Red Ladder Theater Company received a grant to provide multidisciplinary workshops in the creative process to foster it. And then next slide, real quick.
So before we move, can we go back one? You told poetry out loud, so if we wish to apply for some grant for a poetry program, we do regularly in our library. So how do we apply and who's eligible to apply?
So Poetry Out Loud is a program within high schoolers. There's usually a teacher who teaches the poetry curriculum or some kind of club, and then they reach out to our Poetry Out Loud coordinator. It's a poetry recitation contest.
Like we do it regularly, so in case if you want to apply, are we eligible?
So it's not a grant program.
Okay, it's
So Poetry Out Loud is a national program by the National Poetry Center. In the state, it's through California Arts Council, and we're designated in the county to coordinate that competition. So it's a competition, as Jessica said, the students compete, and then the winner goes to the state competition in Washington. They do have a school that wants to participate in that, Jessica. It's not a grant program, it's a specific curriculum-driven poetry recitation competition.
got it.
We also run in partnership with the Santa Clara County Library, we run the Santa Clara County Poet Laureate Program, where we manage the application process and do regular checking to the Poet Laureate. So currently, that poet is Yosimar Reyes.
Right.
And next slide, please. These are just some of the winners, the winners. Allowed. And then, next slide. We also advocate at the local, state, and federal level for arts funding and policy advancement. So if you are interested in advocating at the state level, you can sign up for California for the Arts newsletter. There are statewide advocacy.
So this is a photo of us at Arts Advocacy Day, which is a statewide. We have arts advocates from all over the state, arts groups and arts commissions from all over the state, and we go and spend a day at the state capitol. This is assembly in Ashcalra. Still like 7 of them from the San Jose area. Just go and talk about arts policy.
We also met Patrick Aarons, whose district covers Cupertino. Oh, and we also conduct arts ecosystem research, such as the business of arts and culture publication that you have right there. And next slide.
Yeah, so before I talk a little bit about this whole arts roundtable and what done in Cupertino and what we do more, I just wanted to pull your attention to a couple of these things. You've seen this. These are some of the content magazines. You can subscribe to those. This is our annual report, which in these 3 areas that we've just told you summarizes some of the other things. This was our 2024. So the grant making, the magazine and the media company, and then the access program. So you can sort of see that our report on some of those things that we've done.
So just talking numbers, what is the grant number you get and how much do you distribute amongst how many institutes, organizations? Like, do you have a number in
Yeah.
place?
So we have 3 main grant programs. One is the operating grants. We give, that's a competitive grant program. It's open to nonprofit arts organizations or arts organizations with fiscal sponsors that have budgets under $1.2 million, above $10,000 and under $1.2 million. Those are unrestricted operating grants. They're a competitive panel, adjudicated panel process. The grants range depending on budget size and how people score. They range, I think, from $2,500 to $12,000. And those are annual. And arts groups in the county who meet certain criteria, they are on our website. You can see what they are. Those applications closed about a month ago. They're paneled in June. As I said, it's about 72 to 73 groups. Often the same groups are funded, but not always. Some new ones come in and some fall out. The second is the Access Grant Program. That's a much more limited program, very, very competitive. The operating grants, we probably fund about 80% of what applies. The access grants are specifically to fund projects that are designed in partnership with high need population communities. So she mentioned the Red Ladder Theater Company's foster youth program. That's actually designed with child advocates of Silicon Valley. They're a team that works with foster youth. So it's designed with the social service agency or some other population. They're super competitive. We probably fund maybe a dozen of them every year. The grants are a little bit bigger. They're like $10,000 to $20,000. Yeah, as I said, really competitive. And those applications are open in at the end of, those are calendar based, so they open in the fall. And again, they're open to any artist. Yeah. And to connection, they're serve.
Oh, is it only like the hospital?
No, any high need population, you can read the criteria, you can define it. We funded ones for Vietnamese seniors, we funded ones for some mental health related things at the Palo Alto Arts Center. Funded, I can't even remember what the other ones are. You can look at them all again on our website, sstreets.org. There are examples of, might even be some in here on what the projects are. So, and then the third grant program is the Emerging Artists Program. That's the only thing we do directly for artists with Content Magazine. We would love, it's one of the things we'd love to have you do is get more artists from your community to apply for those. That's a once a year program again, and those are unrestricted cash awards of $5,000 to 3 artists. This year it's 3 artists that have been chosen already in August. So those are the 3 regular grant programs that we run every year. We often will do one-time programs when someone approaches us and asks us to be the grant maker for it. So for example, 2 years ago, the California Arts Council contracted with us to do a region-wide individual artist fellowship program. It was almost $1 million that went out to artists throughout actually 10 county region, I think it was. So that was a grant program. the last couple of years, we've been running a Gilroy specific program because we had a funder who wanted to do grant making to arts projects in Gilroy. So we ran that to them. So those come up. If you're on our e-list, you'll see that. We have a weekly e-blast that goes out. You should all subscribe to that for sure. And then you would see those opportunities.
So how do you subscribe to your list?
Go on to our website and you go to contact and there's a place you can sign up to that.
Okay.
So I mentioned the municipal arts roundtable, so this is, I'm glad you're asking these questions, this is exactly one of the purposes of this, so, when we look back and went, oh, we haven't been engaging with the cities outside of San Jose for 40-something years. We've got to do a better job about that, and so we formed this municipal roundtable about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. Started meeting with each of the cities, saying, how about your arts commissioners start coming and staff and meeting together and learning from each other, and then also learning what we do, so then you can help reach out to artists in your community and promote our opportunities, or tell us who we don't know that we need to know and get on our lists. So the group work meets quarterly now. We meet over these luncheons. It's this kind of peer networking opportunity, but also we try to bring in panels or speakers on topics that we hear you all want to be talking about. One of the things that's come out of this that's been there are a number of cities that have been working on public art policy related things. We learn from each other and advancing them. Morgan Hill and Gilroy being two of them. They've adopted a fee for public art on commercial development, and they're learning from each other how to write those policies and from other people. Last month when we met, were any of you there last month? You were there. Were you there?
I was here,
Sunnyvale?
in Sunnyvale.
In Sunnyvale, yeah. We had Valley Transit VTA come and talk about their grant program, which is open to artists now, this Transit Hub grant program they're running. So those are kind of things we.
And which next one has it?
The next one is,
And I think I sent out the invite. I think I forwarded the invite.
For the speaker,
yeah.
yeah, so I signed up for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a
We
question.
have room for another person too, right? You said we have one more space. If you're somebody to come, usually have a limited number so that the entire Arts Commission doesn't come every time.
It's great. I had a great experience.
Yeah, great. I'm so glad you were there. Then you see there are a lot of city staff. So city staff people from every city come. And we have, is there another slide on the MOU? I can't remember. And we do actually have an MOU with your city and the others participating. There might be highlights from it on the next thing. So we actually met with city staff or, city manager or whoever it was, different person in each city council. When we started this saying, we'd like to have a formal, loose but formal agreement that just says we agree to work together to advance the arts in whatever shape that might take for your individual city, and your folks come and participate in this municipal. So I think we have all but maybe 2 or 3 cities. I think we have 2 cities who haven't signed an MOU, but they're participating. They just had issues. We need to send the MOU through legal. I'm like, yeah.
So I have a question, but may I?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see how to bring the discussion to how we can work
Yeah, so you
together.
go to the next slide.
Okay,
Before the questions. So these are some of the things this is some of the things we're currently supporting in Cupertino. The Cupertino Charity Glass and Flood School, we've been a funder of for, probably 20 years. They're one of the main, programs that we've supported through our operating grants program. You're asking what the difference. They've been an operating grantee for a long, long time. And, Alyssa and some of the other folks who are in leadership roles there have been involved in our roundtables, our technical support programs that we do. We do all these workshops for our grantees, then they get access to workshops on how to do better management, do better marketing, do all of those things. So they've been a part of that. There are a number of different venues, but you have a list of them that are used by other grantees. Now throughout Cupertino, what are some of those places?
So some of those Cupertino Community Hall, Cupertino Library, Dianza College, and Bonavista Vista High School. They've been used by groups such as Nova Vista Symphony, iMusic, Voices of Silicon Valley, San Jose Youth Symphony. So a lot of these symphonic or choral groups use spaces for their performances and rehearsals.
Yeah, and then Jessica mentioned our Arts Ed Connect grant program, which we do with the County Office of Education, and teachers apply directly to those grants and they're matched and they pick. We have like this list of vetted artists and arts groups, and they go through and they pick. They say, oh, well, I want the San Jose Museum of Art to come bring their visual arts program in my class, or I want San Jose Typo to come perform in my assembly or whatever, and then they pick and they get grants to do those things. So currently, these are the ones that are sort of happening here, and I think that's where we want to, the next part of this presentation is really questions and your priorities about, how, we would love to see is how you can help us spread the word to groups who should be applying to our different grant programs, giving us ideas for artists who should be featured in the magazine from your community. We would love to see, applicants for the Emerging Artist Awards, and then also for the Poet Laureate. We just touched on the Poet Laureate. So the County Poet Laureate is a designate of the County Board of Supervisors, represents the county in arts for a 2 or 3 year period of time, and then does readings and appearances and workshops throughout the county during that time. And I don't know, I know we have never had one from Cupertino. I'm not sure if there have been many who've applied, but it's a personal goal of mine to have a poet laureate from the county who doesn't live in San Jose in the future. We know it's the big population, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't want to pay more attention to recruiting. We won't have that application won't come up for another year. Because it's Marmez is another year and a half left in his term. But that's another one where we'll be really looking for you. So, help us with the sort of the ways you can help us reach out and meet those folks. So I think with that, and if next slide is questions, then after that is we want to hear from you again, like what are your priorities as a commission? You probably have your own set of strategic priorities that you're working on, and what of those can we help you with besides you helping us by outreaching into your communities and letting them know what we. And I'll just say one other thing about the 2 other things about the signups. Jessica mentioned, let her know if you want to be on the print magazine subscription list, but the 2 things to sign up for eBlasts, which are weekly, the svcreates.org. You can sign up for our, which is an email that goes out to people in leadership positions and running arts groups. It's about our grant programs, our workshops, our programs and advocacy. But then Content Magazine has their own weekly eBlast, which is a curated pick of highlights of what's going on in the county every week. Arts Walls, it's not comprehensive. It's just like, here are 5 things you might want to check out. So we would love suggestions for all of those things in addition to the photo. So
I have maybe.
No, you.
Yeah, I just have a few kind of high level questions. First of all, really appreciate both of you coming here and taking the time and presenting us. I think it's very impressive. I will like to also get all the commissioners to give some feedback and see if they have questions. What would be at least very helpful, the way I'm looking at it, there are some individual connections, of course, for the letters and for your newsletters and for applying for grants, and all of that can be done. What I'm very interested to know, what you are doing with other neighboring cities with a commission like ours. So that's my first question. I don't know if you can answer that.
yeah. So it's a little bit different in every city.
Okay.
Much of what we've done is kind of gone and say, how can we help you? So it's different depending on what the commission's priorities are and what they're involved in. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So in Gilroy, when we first met with them, which was actually a couple of years ago, they actually were having trouble filling the seats on their arts commission and having trouble orienting their arts commission to what arts commissioners do.
Okay.
So they asked us, the city manager's office asked us to help with that. So we kind of worked with them over a series of time to kind of help them understand maybe what their role could be and how they could fill and how they could recruit people. And so we sort of did that with them initially. In Morgan Hill, they wanted to start cultural planning and developing a public art policy. So we gave them links to resources, templates around that. Some consultants they might want to consider working with around that. In Milpitas, one of the projects.
And sorry, for such a project, they will be setting up a consulting agreement with you.
No, we introduced them directly to consultants. We gave them a roster of consultants for them to
Okay.
choose from.
Okay.
We said, depends on has to be the right fit for you. So right here, 3 consultants that we know.
I
of.
see.
We actually did a panel on that at a roundtable. Was that one we did in Adobe last year? So we did a panel at one of the municipal arts roundtables where we brought in a bunch of cultural planning consultants, and they were part of a panel, and then they met them out.
All right. So do I understand you have access to a lot of resources? So based on what the City Arts and Culture Commission may be wanting to do, you could be a resource to go to and say, hey, can you guide us to have some connections? That could be one way, but you're looking for questions or kind of leads to come from us. Like what do we need and you can help us.
Yeah, I think it's a two-way that way. I mean, exactly. We want to be a
Okay.
resource and network. We work with not only the cities in this county, but we're part of a California coalition of county arts agencies. Every county has one. There are 58, so we're part of that. So we meet regularly, so we can find resources. If you say, we're trying to do this, I can go say, oh, here's a county, here's a city in the state that's doing that. I can
Oh,
connect you.
excellent,
You
excellent.
don't have to reinvent things. You're not here alone.
Absolutely.
Network. So I think there's that. We want to be this kind of networking intermediary. And then the other part is that we want you to help us reach out to
Yeah.
your artistic community to
Okay.
share the limited internal resources. that
Okay,
we-
okay. So I think I get that. If that's okay, may I through our liaison, can we make a round?
Yeah. Your meeting.
Okay, all right. How's the timing?
Here all night. I mean,
Yeah.
I think budget's about an hour, about over here, but you know, it's.
Okay, so we're doing good. Okay, so if that's okay with all of us, just I want to at least give everyone a
A
chance.
round table. Okay.
Yeah, just get whatever you want to
Robin.
say or ask. So I'll start with you, Commissioner Panther.
If I can't, to the chair.
Yes.
One of the action, I believe suggested from last meeting was that everyone come up with 2 or 3 things that they wanna
Yes.
suggest. Maybe this could be the time to do it at this point.
That, yeah, I think if you want
Does that make
to
sense?
bring
Sure.
that.
Are we gonna log that somewhere in the
Uh,
minutes?
Yes,
Ideas?
we could, yes.
I can write it for you. if you
So
want.
you'll make your notes for your
So,
minutes. We'll make notes on.
Everything's recorded, so.
The ideas that you have.
Yeah.
And ideas that you have, and we might.
Okay, so let's address, if that's okay, get both the items, any initial feedback or question you may have for SV Creates, and then any ideas that have come to your mind because of this discussion or otherwise. Yeah.
Yes, certainly, that this is a new field that I'm the first time in this Ask Commission, so it's very exciting to see that there are bodies who are helping and, connecting, like, intermediate, as you said. So in both ways, we can take your help, and also provide whichever direction we can help you with. So first thing is that we can connect all our artists, like performing artists or visual artists, in whatever we have, network, we can connect you with, so that they also join the big league. And now we are all island wide, right? So that way they can have a big circle. That will be one help to all our artists of our Cupertino and our community. So that's part one. And second, as I know that you are also helping others, so we'll help try to be that connection, that intermediary so that right person is reached. So there are many people, especially seniors, I've seen that they don't know how to apply, where to go when they have so much of talent, so much of wish and willingness to do stuff. So I can guide them to go to a site, and if I understand well, I can train them how to apply for stuff that you are already, allocating stuffs for good artists, for good performing people. So maybe, tomorrow there's some person who reaches you and gets some help, so to move ahead. So both ways, we can help you and get help. So that's what my.
Thank you. Yes.
Right. Okay, so I did bring this up last time, so I've got a list with me. So I might take a bit of time here, so hold me on the time. So first thing is, the way I considered creating this list of 2 or 3 projects or whatever was, it's more of a brainstorm right now. But we as a commission should have a running list which we tap into if and when we have in lieu funds. Okay, so that was the goal. We need to develop a decision criteria based on which we use that in lieu funds. How do we select projects? So the ideation I had was, the first one is create visibility for arts in Cupertino, starting with a website, a commission website that actually catalogs art locations. For example, the outdoor art that the developers are creating. There should be a section with a photograph, who's the artist, and a little write-up, because art looks interesting, but when there's a write-up of what's behind it, it really pops. So that's one example. Utility boxes that are painted by kids. I think that's a fantastic one to catalog, write down who's the painter, and a little story on that. Exhibits in Cupertino, the only one I know really, is the Euphrat Museum of Art in De Anza. I mistakenly stumbled into it one day, and it is fantastic. and it is self-funded by one individual. De Anza does not give anything. So it's a pretty sorry state of affairs as far as I'm concerned. What a fantastic location and exhibit, but they have to scrape. So those are examples. There may be others to have on this website, and I imagine things like a suggested art walk. Cupertino is a walking city, walking and biking city, and we want to encourage that. It could be an art walk or an art bike ride. It could be even organized, or it could be self-directed. So that's the first category. So that's the Cupertino Arts website with examples of art destinations. This is not commercial. This is not a little private studio. We could list that too, but let's do public art. Second category is we should look into having grants for supporting art in Cupertino using potential future in lieu funds, starting with scholarships for underprivileged young people who want to take art classes, including Cupertino, a city-run art classes. They're not cheap. So that's one example. Another one is schools. If we believe there are underfunded art programs in Cupertino schools, that's the place to invest. Another example is, of course, things like the Euphrates Art Museum, which I've been to only one time. I liked it. There may be others. Maybe art exhibits in the library. And again, the criteria for all this will be something similar to what you laid out, which is in our mission also, which brings people together, being a catalyst for arts, build a healthier community, right? Of course, my dream category is eventually we have a proper physical arts center in Cupertino, similar to the Palo Alto Arts Center, where I happen to be a board member there. So I know some of the programs you're involved with there. And that really brings community together of different cultures, different economic levels. And I stated earlier, there is no melting pot going on. We all fool ourselves. We all have communities that stick to each other. And art can be leveraged to really create a true melting pot where different communities come together. Okay, that's the extent of my list. The first category being a arts website, create visibility for art destination to Cupertino. Second one is potential grants. All this will happen obviously only once we have any in lieu funds to use.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I have a question,
Mhm.
Commissioner Lamba. When you talk about art center, we're talking about a physical body, but we have so many public places that we can leverage to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, like even for Queen Center, like if we, and when we have any public event, we can utilize that. That's why I've always advocated a combination of cultural and art center. So,
I
starting.
think it's a combination.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
whenever we have any public event, if we can get started with all what Commissioner Lamba suggested, but we will need some planning beforehand. That suppose Cherry Blossom Festival is coming, or suppose Earth Day is coming, can we have an art section to it with all our potential great artists, local artists? So that way we can
Art-
help. But
Absolutely.
it has to work together, the art and the cultures. That's what I was suggesting last time, if we can bring it together. That'll be, so thank you so much.
I agree with you. I mean, there's advantages of both.
Yes,
In all reality, to make it sustainable long term,
exactly.
if there's a place
Right.
people go to, that's where they truly interact. Otherwise, if you go to the Cherry Blossom Festival, people walk through it, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. You get exposed to different cultures and so on. But I don't see a lot of interaction between old people, young people who don't know each other. Okay, different ethnic backgrounds who don't know each other. I don't see that.
I
I
agree.
see that in the Palo Alto Art Center.
Got it. So I was just thinking as a starting point, because when you have a specific place that people are not aware about the quality or the venue of it, we can get started by introducing them at public places. So that they'll say, wow, this is beautiful. Then where are you? Where are you located? And then people can, that will be a second step of, getting to market.
I agree with you.
May I just make a suggestion as we finish the round? I'm trying to capture and
Please do.
we have that. And I think this is really the first ideation. by the end, we probably will have more than 15, 20. And if we zero in on a few, then we try to see which ones we can actually map out and make them operational. But this is really great and new energy, so thank
One
you.
clarification on that, given I'm
Yes.
still trying to understand brown ag business.
Yes,
So
yes.
what if we each have a succinct list of bullet items that we send in? I mean, we've already discussed it here, so let's try to make sure it's only those items which can be collated and then put in a repository. Because it's a brainstorm, which means we don't select yet, let's list everything,
It's a
and this is just the start.
Okay, we can,
Is that?
Yeah, I mean, if you individually email me, just.
Yeah.
Individual
not as a
emails to
group,
you, not to the
and
group.
I can come with a list and I can send it out. And then you can
Yeah.
comment back to me. It's not.
Very nice. And again, let's treat it as a true brainstorm, which is,
Yes.
we're not selecting anything.
no, not. I think we'll need the help from the staff liaison.
Thank you, Jim.
Just want to share really quick.
Yes.
And just for Alexander and Jessica too, do you know of any limitations once we get in lieu fees, in lieu funds from developers? Are there any limitations on what those can be spent on?
It's your own city's policy.
Okay,
It might be different. It's different. It's whatever's in your city charter, however you did that.
okay.
That's part of what Morgan Hill's trying to design right now is what there's.
So we don't have that currently.
Do you not have any?
That's exactly what I was thinking. We
that
can
is
use
one-
them to help us.
Yeah, because
Perfect.
if you don't have it and you have input into designing that, you want to make it as flexible as possible, right? So to your point, some cities it's locked up that it has to be just specifically spent for sculptures or something like that. But some places in the state, they have it. You can spend it on programming, you can spend it on festivals, you can give grants, whatever. So if it's not done, try to drive it to be that you have discretion to spend it on art. all kinds of art.
Because I just remember going, I'm sorry, it's probably overstepping.
No,
I just remember just through the last, we were in Sunnyvale, so one of the other jurisdictions brought up the concern that it has to be spent on physical art.
Right.
So I don't know if that
That was
was,
theirs, that, yes, so
That was
they
the-
had that.
got it.
yes.
So
I
it
can't remember
wasn't
which
the-
one that is, that might have been Gilroy or maybe Mountain View, I'm not
Got
sure.
it.
But yeah, if you don't have it, if it's not written in your charter or policy anywhere, then probably have flexibility unless
So that-
somewhere in the
that's
city
good.
government.
Sorry, I'm going to
My
jump.
friend, but
We
anyway.
have that on the agenda item, so
you're right.
we
So-
have the art and new policy discussion coming up.
Okay, will you move on? Because we don't want to say, we're going to
Sorry,
but
thank
anyway.
you for
But-
that.
But that's a place, reach out to us and we can send you templates or resources to other cities around the state.
That would be great, yeah.
This is how we did ours, so you can be more flexible about it.
Okay, do stay on until we finish this round.
Yes,
That's
yes.
okay. All right.
First of all, thank you so much for joining the meeting. It is very insightful to hear everything that you have to share. I wish you could stay for the entire meeting because as the chair mentioned, our next topic is precisely to discuss how we want to design our art in lieu fee policy for the city of Cupertino, but I understand time limitations. Specific questions that I had for you, well, I guess your original question was, how can we work together? So I think my first thing is to help us structure our art in lieu fee policy. We will be discussing it today as a commission. And then I believe the next step would be bringing it to city council, another commission,
Thank you.
planning commission, and then eventually a study session at the city council level. So any insights that you can share with us, with other stakeholders, I think would be very, very valuable.
Send you some examples.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. The second thing is, in my opinion, we as a commission, I mean, we are in the process of setting our direction and strategy. So any feedback, any examples that you have of similar or neighboring jurisdictions and just examples to help get the creative juices flowing on how examples of what we can pursue. I think all of that is really, really helpful as well. And then lastly, in terms of how we can get our community members more engaged and more involved in the existing programs that you already have. I mean, first of all, this presentation is the first step in that. But I think if you can help share, I mean, in email form or just in some concise form, different programs that either individual community members or community groups can apply to, and details around like timing or just logistical details, if you can send that in email in a very concise form, I think that would make it just easier for us to forward on to contacts in our community.
Great, thank you.
For the second one, what strategies were you looking for?
My comment was more that, in my opinion, I think we are in the stage of coming up with the direction and
Strategies
strategies.
for the commission.
Yeah, for
Oh,
the commission
Yeah,
and
for the
arts
So
in
strategies, so we can look
generally.
at examples of other commissions, kind of, strategy papers, cultural plans, whatever they are.
And through the chair too, so on our current agenda that I sent you the link to this morning, they have, we have the draft policy that we have presented, so.
This is for the in-lieu fee.
Yeah, for the fee as well as the ordinance modifications that would support the Lucy policy and whatnot as well. So, I mean, so you have that resource right now that we can.
I don't want us to slow down our process, but I also wanted to invite
I can
you.
look it over tomorrow and then I can just send you maybe a couple
Strike
of
those all
examples and say,
iron
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe think about including that.
Thank you very much.
At least you have one.
Yeah.
Not all cities actually have any kind of a public art thing or even movies.
Santa Clara doesn't.
All right, let's.
San Jose doesn't have one except on government buildings.
That's right. They
They
don't.
have none
Yeah.
on private development.
Can you believe that?
San Jose, can you believe it, how much money would they have for
Wow.
arts if they did?
It is.
Go ahead, I'm derailed this thing.
No, that's okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chen, please.
Yeah, Susan, it's the first time I'm a new member. Sorry, miss the first time meeting, but I'm very lucky, very nice to meet you today. Since their suggestion, we already start to put out the activity. On this Saturday, we're going to have a fourth multicultural art festival in the front of library. At that time, I initialed a suggestion. Let's go ahead to have an art show. Our city, not our city, our county, our whole Silicon Valley, we need so much art and culture, right? Everything about the high tech, that we are number one, but we're missing the art and the culture something. Let's go ahead and have an art show. So this time we hold first time Cupertino art show. Since we're first time, we combine with the multicultural festival. But from this year, after this year, we're going to have separate professional level the art show, art festival. So this year on Saturday, May 24th, maybe too late to apply your any help, but maybe you can give us some suggestion. The art show, we have two levels in the city hall. We borrowed the city hall whole day for the professional art show, which more than 100 pieces from professional artists. And then in the plaza, outside plaza, we're holding so many booths for the young students, art lovers. They can come there, they can practice, they can learn something, they can commute each other, learn to commute, to exchange some art ideas. We try to compete in the future to Sunnyvale Art Show. That's our goal. So we need your help. We already start awards, which is mayor. We got us big help, mayor's awards. Maybe you can give more awards. You know, sometimes the art award is very hard to give them. Who knows which one is the best, right? So I always challenge myself, which one is best? Everyone want to get awards. So maybe you can help us make a very fair judgment and get help to help Cupertino City to get more display for more art show. But I'm sorry, even I, as an art community members to make a suggestion to mayor, but they didn't put a name on the art community there. Only the mayor's name there.
Well, it was the mayor's initiative.
Mayor initiative, yeah, but I need initials. Mayor.
Actually, that's my commission. Who is the we that's putting up the art show?
I was about to ask that,
Organization.
yes, who's doing this? That's from my
Are
question.
we doing this?
Who's
But we
the
have a
we?
volunteer.
Sorry, who's we?
Exactly.
Yeah, this highlight is from which studio. So tomorrow we'll come to my office to hold the first meeting to how to display the art. I can show you some.
Commissioner Cheng, which is the organization that is organizing this art show?
It's from mayor.
From the mayor.
Mayor.
So the city.
They are all volunteers from this point. You're one, the volunteer.
Okay,
So I think maybe you can help a little bit and on, or we, none of us know?
As far as I know, it's not a city function,
Okay,
so it's just the mayor.
Eventually, yeah, we want to be.
so what we've understood is the mayor's individual initiative,
Let me see.
but I thought there was an organization that was helping it and I.
Yeah, I know. But
Is it not the
I
A?
can figure out because
The mayor.
I
Of Cupertino citywide.
Yes,
Eventually we become citywide. big.
I'll be meeting her soon for another function, so I can ask what exactly is it,
But it's-
and I can update all of you. I can send it to you.
Award.
well, that is so nice that we have an art show coming up. But what's not nice is this is news to me.
So answer partial of your questions. There's so
Is it
many words, community.
Put that on the list.
I think it's great there's something like this.
Yeah,
no,
it's
that's okay.
it's a part of, we have so many.
Web gallery,
Yeah, it's
AAPI.
art.
It is, I think it's the AAPI, that's what I.
So we take.
I see.
The
Is-
City Hall.
American,
Association of Asian
Yeah.
Pacific
Pacific.
Island.
RPA
Hey.
is like double. Yeah. Oh, I see.
Only regarding the art.
great.
Yeah.
I thought it's the.
So we
I'm gonna come.
actually pushed that, we promoted it because I saw a mayor at the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was asked to kind of push it out on our platform, so.
yeah,
so
okay.
Excellent.
we
I
like
think
to
it's
get
great.
your suggestion, help to make us art show
Makes
bigger
sense.
and stronger,
Around.
spread the whole community.
Next year you can.
Next year, let's get engaged from,
Yeah.
from this. community.
We want to be separate from there, want to be individually,
Yeah.
to be the professional level, the art festival.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. All right.
Yes,
So I think we've all really appreciated and our understanding that you could be a really good resource for us as we are developing some new ideas and also, in fact, going through the policy, the art and youth policy. Also, I think some things we already talked about, we don't need to repeat, but there's one, two, three things that kind of stand and I just want to summarize. And if that helps, but if I missed something, one is do please inform us of the grants and that are coming so that we find a way to distribute that in our community. I think that is one question that you said. If you can share the art and youth policy of some of the jurisdictions where you've been
Yes.
involved, if there's still time for us to read them, because we are actually discussing today. And I will say I'm not too concerned because our staff has already reviewed all the close by jurisdiction and we had done the side by side comparison. So I'm not too worried. But I would, of course, once we have it, we'd love for you to have a look at it and read and let us know if something stands out. So I think maybe that's the way we can do that. And then I think as we define any specific program to our Arts and Culture Commission, you would be a really good party for us to engage with, to get advice and consulting. But that will be a little bit us pulling on you that, hey, please come back and talk to us. Does that help? Is that a way to?
Absolutely, yes.
I think that's great.
Okay, thank you. And for the sign up on your
Website.
newsletter information, just send the information.
So the
to-
newsletter, you could just go on our website.
Okay, so we can just do it.
On Jessica's card there, SV Creates, you'll see a place to sign
Okay,
up.
so then we can just do
If
that.
you want to get a subscription to the print magazine, though, you just email Jessica on her card.
I think that's fine too. I think that works for everyone. Whoever is interested can do that.
And we hope to see some of you at the next roundtable lunch. The main topic for that is going to be around arts education.
Okay,
So
okay. Do communicate with Jean as you
Yes.
have, and he's very good at sharing. And that,
I can be the pointer.
we can't do without
yes,
him. So
yes.
yeah,
thank you.
it's a great point of contact also for you.
Thank
Really appreciate
Thank you
it.
for your time. I mean, I'm sure you have.
Thank you.
Doing tonight.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much for coming.
All of you.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for. I'll see you.
Okay. So that was really good. Oh, next we have our agenda.
That's it, right? I do.
I did.
Yes.
Go back to our reception.
Maybe get the
Yes.
of yours, big for you guys too. Let me talk to.
Old business.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm wrong.
Oh, no, these, we take these back.
Oh, that's right.
So that's the whole copy.
The subscription.
Yeah, I can feel it. Up here, I definitely won't get to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Alexandra.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, I think that was a-
Okay.
That's a really, really good presentation and thank you,
Sure.
Sean, for connecting and,
Yeah, I've been wanting,
Yes.
been wanting to do that for a while. so.
Yeah, this is, and it's very timely and good to know them. Okay, we do go back to our agenda, which is, it's called old business, item number 2. So the subject is study session to revisit the municipal code standards for art in public and private development, including the standards in municipal developing an art in lieu fee policy. So there's quite some content, there's been information shared. And I went from one blue link to the other and tried to print it. So that's a staff report. We have the municipal code chapter 19, which is I think the existing one.
Yep.
And then you have the amended policy
The mocked up.
resolution from the staff. So I'm going to give it back to Sean to see on the next item for the presentation or how do we do it?
Yeah, I can just, I don't have a,
Is the second?
yeah, I don't have
Yes.
a PowerPoint or anything like
That's
that.
okay.
I'm just gonna share the document.
Yes, I think that's fine.
So the staff report documented 5 main points that we have, that have been discussed last meeting and also the meetings in September. Just a reminder that the Horticulture Commission are to approve all in lieu payment options rather than having to go straight to council. The lieu payment evaluation of art pieces on private development shall be maintained at a consistent 1% rather than the 1.5. The city shall create and maintain a separate art fund, which we don't have. Fourth one was the potential use of art funding should be used to develop an arts master plan or other commission recommendations. And we referenced Vice Chair Wong's presentation from August 12th. Good to know from SB Creates that it's really up to jurisdiction as to how they want to do it. There's nothing statutorily that limits it to physical art. That was my concern from the roundtable. I must have misunderstood what that jurisdiction was saying. So that's great. And the fifth one was city council be the decision-making body upon recommendation of the Arts and Culture Commission for the allocation of funds. So once we have the funding, city council is the decision-making body. So we already had we have a policy right here. I think I shared this one a number of times before from 2005. I discussed with some of my colleagues the best way to do it. If you guys, if there was no questions or concerns about the one, how to select art pieces and whatnot. It seemed pretty consistent with what other jurisdictions use, so we just,
Have one question.
Yep.
You read 5 points, where are they? I was trying to find out that I can highlight. When you read the 5
Look for the staff report.
stuff.
So there's a link to that. John, there was one thing that may have been either missing or I missed it. That was, and it's there in the markup, which is we removed the word is discouraged. In lieu payment,
yes,
it's not discouraged, in lieu payment.
yes,
Right?
yeah, and I removed that in the municipal code.
Correct. Just wanted to clarify that. So.
You're coming to it. I believe you're still going to, you're going to.
Yes, I was gonna do, I'm going to attachment B first, just because this policy is still on our minds.
Okay.
So this is what I had put together and just, I think again, capture what everyone was saying on the commission. It's where the place, it's not feasible. It's stuff that if it can be found and it's, the first couple paragraphs are where you can reference the municipal code and whatnot. The second part of this is public art fund, that public art fund will be established with relief fees from developments. Can be used for the commissioning, acquisition, fabrication, design, installation of public art. Spending on funds shall be determined by the city council based on recommendation of Arts and Culture Commission. Do we want to add on to that, knowing that we have the power and the authority to do like
we discussed this last time.
Okay,
And I remember saying we should have the city council. David, you have clarified, and I believe we concluded that we want that authority to stay with the commission.
That was what I suggest, that's what I suggested, but I believe last time they decided that the decision factor will go back to them. But we will be, that's what I remember, I might be wrong, but they will, when I suggested that let's keep the authority, it was decided that the decision maker they will be, but we will only put our advisory, suggestion. That's what I remember.
So I'm saying we concluded the opposite.
If I remember, what I remember is what John wrote in the staff report,
Yeah, so.
which is.
No. So it's that currently for a developer to choose a loop fee. This body recommends the city council.
Okay.
And so I think I think what's in the minutes and what's recorded is that
Directly.
now it's back down to commission to decide that. But how the money is spent goes to council.
So
There's-
there's two decisions that are being made.
Yeah.
The first decision is whether or not the developer is able to use an in lieu fee, or if they are forced to create an on-site sculpture. That, we said in our last meeting, the decision of which route they go can lie with the commission.
I agree,
However,
yes.
the usage of funds, because it deals with city money, that decision needs to be made at the city council level with a recommendation from our commission.
Correct.
For example,
Fully
if we say, let's create a scholarship fund for Cupertino residents to go take art classes.
Yeah.
That was a recommendation to the
Correct.
city council.
Right.
They'll say approve 50,000 or 20,000.
Yeah, correct.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I miss.
That's okay.
That's okay.
It's an important discussion and
Yeah.
thank you for bringing up and also clarifying, Vice Chair. I do want to bring little bit attention also to this item. It may be lingering in our mind because of the previous discussion. And I don't know whether I can, it's that on how we can use on what we can use the funds. It's very, very broad. Look at other public art funds, second paragraph. Additionally, whatever go lower in the paragraph, it can be used for programming. I think I read somewhere. It's a whole lot of categories.
Yeah,
So
it's-
nothing to worry.
Including but not limited to staffing, administration of said programs, gallery or exhibit operations, website and publicity developments, and workshops, curriculum and tour development.
We would like to keep it broad. But we don't know any better.
Sorry, that's the current policy.
Go ahead.
Yes.
My reading of this is the in lieu fee can only be used for commissioning, acquisition, fabrication, or design of physical art. And then I think the paragraph you're referring to is what, basically the programming,
Yes.
that would have to come out of general fund, which is separate from the in lieu fee. So actually, as
And the
written, this is very restrictive. This is saying we can only use it on physical art.
No, but it doesn't mention that, do you? I mean, Commissioner, I don't see any physical word that physical art. Because if you go to second paragraph, additionally, that paragraph kind of broadens the.
This says general fund can be used for blah, 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 blah. General fund is not the same as art and lieu fund. Art and lieu fund is this first paragraph, which is saying it can only be used for blah, 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 public.
Okay, let's read. I'm really
Yeah.
confused. Yeah.
Because what does public art fund mean?
Public art fund, so new payments come in
That's the same?
and then that's the public art fund. That goes in a separate fund. What the second paragraph is saying, because we're not like Sunnyvale or San Jose that has just conveyor belt of developments that come in and constantly contributing. We can't, it's recommended that we don't use it to do ongoing programming like maintenance and like staffing for an art museum to stay in the future. Those have to come out of the general fund.
What about art programming or any of these new ideas we have talked about?
So that's the discussion you all have to have. So, okay,
Yes.
do we want to move?
We need to have that then. Okay,
May I?
yes, please.
Okay, my apologies.
But I think, but I'd like you to just interject one thing. So the programming, let's be more, my recommendation be specific about the program. Are we talking about scholarships or like spoken word?
Yes.
So let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
In fact, I will just use the examples I used earlier. I think restricting the public art fund to only physical public art funding is overly restrictive and does not align with the powers and functions that have been granted to this commission, which is realization, preservation, advancement of art for the benefits of Cupertino, being a catalyst, all that stuff. I think it's over restricted. I would propose to this commission that we amend this to strike that, the first 2-3 lines. And frankly, remove the word general fund. And instead of general fund, we specifically state public art fund.
Yes.
Having said that, I understand the maintenance of art and all those things. We need to develop a set of criteria for what programs this this public art fund can be used for. And one criteria would probably be, in my opinion, it's not committed for every following year. It's a grant one time. Next year, we will have to revisit how much money do we have? Will we do the scholarships again? Will we fund the UFRED art as examples?
Absolutely. It will be
Okay.
competitive, flexible, and it's not hard set that everything is not recurring. That will always have
So
a.
we should have that as a criteria. It's nothing is recurring. Oh, no grants are recurring. It's up to the discretion of the granting authority to re-grant or not.
But it's perfect for our art show on Saturday. Maybe too late to apply the art.
Well, not
Have any money in it.
right now.
We didn't get a money. But that's the example that we
Yeah.
should be involved in.
We should be able to.
Right now, it's not allowed even.
Look at your money.
That's too late to come out.
My direction, because
Next year.
we did ready to allocate and get started. Otherwise, it will be too late. When it comes, it will be immediate.
Yeah.
We should have some action, some tentative plan in mind.
You can throw award to the young artists,
Right.
right? It's award.
Good.
I think just to reiterate my position.
Please, yeah.
I totally agree. I think the language as written is too restrictive. I don't think we should limit the art and view to only physical art. And I want it to also be used for programming, funding art shows,
Scholarships.
creating scholarships, supporting education, and other examples that we come up with. Obviously through our recommendation with approval from council.
So it's is the commission okay to leave the part about the, so maybe strike, maybe refine the second paragraph language.
Yes,
I don't
right.
think you still want to use the art new fees or the art fund for staffing. So for example, Jessica, who runs the
Correct.
arts awards, her salary shouldn't come out of that. It should still come out of the general fund.
So, may I make a recommendation?
Sure.
That this paragraph 2, I'm getting a general understanding, we need to broaden the public art fund as is drafted here in paragraph 2. I leave it to you to bring the language, but yes, we can include examples like doing art shows or workshops or special art or culture activities to benefit the community. We can say that those are some of the examples. Everything else we can anyhow leave out. We probably don't need to say not administration and we don't need to make the negative ones, but just include the examples that we are talking about.
Well, actually, I mean, up for discussion, but I do
Yes.
see some value in saying what the
Not-
art fund should not be used
Okay,
for.
let's-
Because I can imagine a scenario where we
Okay.
have a bunch of art money,
Yes,
but then 10 years from
Yes.
now, whoever's in charge
Okay.
is trying to spend all of it on staff time.
okay,
I so agree with you.
I understand. I was just trying to minimize the word. So if that's okay, we have a second paragraph and then we make a specific, but we are recommending not to include with some kind of a language. Let
Maybe
staff come back with
Not
it.
inclusive of administrative charges.
Yeah.
That will be covering everything. We're not covering, because city is covering administrative charges. We are doing the creative side of it, the one where we help the community and overall requirements of art and development of art. So administration charges, maybe we can separate it out, non-inclusive of administration costs.
Perfect.
Is
Yeah.
that okay to leave at that and for you to come back with some wording?
I'm actually looking forward to this, seeing what they have. I might miss something that's very helpful.
Okay, then that's a good idea. So I think we have a general understanding that we
Excellent.
want to broaden it, but we do want to not allow certain expenses towards certain costs like administration and staff and overhead.
So, and then if I could just, the very last paragraph of this part is the fund distribution.
Okay,
Generally, every piece is unique, situation unique. So I ran this by, our CIP staff, which is folks who build the roads, and would be the ones, managing this process, like in Jollyman Park, they manage the process. And so what do we want to limit our soft costs to? Soft costs being design, engineering, and stuff like that too. So we're thinking, the project budgets are typically 20-25% soft costs. And a contingency, meaning that it comes in 500,000, things happen, someone's gonna ask for, well, it's really gonna cost 600 after things are approved, do we have that buffer? Not to have to go back to city council asking more funds. So we left it between 10 to 20% of unanticipated costs of loans. Well, so
Is that standard language, or how did you come up with those numbers specifically?
I ran this through the CIP manager to see what she's been seeing, and in fact, what is she seeing through the John Park installation of that art piece? So that's the one time recently we've actually spent.
So, this is assuming
yes.
the funds are really for creating a physical entity.
Right.
I believe our thinking, maybe wrong here, but correct it, is more in line of grants to organizations. We should not get into the business of building, construction, setting up an art installation ourselves. We could commission. Yeah, so I'm not totally black and white on this clearly. But if we really want a public art, we should actually push the developer to do it.
Right.
Otherwise, we're taking on a lot, city resources, we are not experienced people in installation of an art entity.
Do you want to use Jollyman as an example though?
Yes. Perfect. So we had, so the reason that cities like Sunnyvale encourage, they almost encourage new fees rather than have the development of the art
Okay.
in most parts of the city, rather.
Okay.
It's because the public doesn't have the opportunity to see on private,
Right.
private development. So in the case, where did we get the money for the Jollyman art piece was really the $250,000 or $300,000 we got from, the public storage development.
Okay.
Hidden way out there, and our piece would
Nobody
not
will go
even
there.
go there. So they gave us the money and we used that to put it in a location that's gonna be that all-inclusive playground where, Jollyman Park, I live half a mile from there. So I go there and it's well used by the public. And so there's a lot of interface with the public for that art piece. It's interactive. So so we use that money to design, to the place, we hired a consultant.
It's not literally us,
Got it.
but we helped use that fund to get a contractor to do that.
But because the commissioners should not have our own staff. We should not have our own funding, so we need to use.
Okay, may I add just a little bit something and just to what also John is telling? Yeah, so the public art, so when you talk about art in lieu, so that again is the fork, right? So typically, the builder is building an art fee as its contribution to the community.
Right.
That's how it started, all right? Now, in some places, in some projects, it does not make sense to have an art piece at that location. So then we have the art in lieu policy that we are now discussing. Therefore, in that fund, which is called the Public Art Fund, that art piece anyhow did not get made, right? That's how we got the money. Now, we may decide again to use a physical art piece at a different location. That has been the nature of the art in lieu policy till now. We are now putting in the mix
Alternate.
of other community benefit like art shows or things. Again, but we will not be moving 100%
Yeah, yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
because the whole idea starts from doing the public art. That's the starting point of the funding. We cannot and we should not take it away because
I
that's how
agree.
the funds come in.
Thank you.
Right? Does that make
I agree.
But, I mean, it's a matter of priority. Like, I mean, design, as you said, there's a four. When we start working on it, we have a decision-making protocol there. Do we do art? Do we do public service? The money is, how is the priority made? Is it more important to develop the, I mean, artist or to make an art happen? If we can make some rules and regulations around that, how we fork it, we do this or both of it.
Okay.
I mean, if we can make that one, it will help the successors to understand the regulations put in place. So what I suggest is, as we decided, we should not make it restrictive only to art. Yes, it is art money, but can we make it to a better purpose?
Okay.
Can we make it more open, inclusive, and more developmental? That's what my suggestion.
Yeah. So you are now coming also to a more advanced description of the
Right.
art in lieu policy.
Right.
We just decided that we do want to already have it broad. So even when we have art in lieu, does not mean it is a physical structure at a location Y instead of X.
Right.
But we want to use workshop or other art shows as the benefit for the community. How are we going to decide that? That's still to be discussed.
Right.
It hasn't even come on the table yet.
Yes. So the Jollyman example is a perfect one for me to withdraw my. I keep on learning.
Right.
I should learn before I speak, but what the heck, okay? So that's an excellent example, which, delivers the intent. So yes, we should have some statement like that. You said, I was going to say strike it, but then what the number should be, I'm not an expert in that, like what.
Okay.
I think the intent of that, if I may,
Please,
Chair, the intent of that is to give parameters to CIP staff. And when they go out to bid, because, a lot of this, so as an example, Jollyman used MIG, which is a very broad, which is a consulting firm that has a very broad reach in terms of physical development, land use policy and stuff too. So it kind of gives guidance to our staff to say, stay within these parameters, don't go, don't spend 50% on staffing for this one art piece.
So I don't have expertise to actually comment on that section.
I don't either, that's why I have. Sorry, Carl.
So, also if I may add on that project, also, I think maybe the vice chair was also alluding to another part of that discussion, very interesting. I was also surprised myself. We changed the direction of the design quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, we did. There were certain proposals. It was one of our, at least my earlier meetings. I don't know how often that had happened,
Yeah.
but we changed the direction.
You had it back.
Even then, even though it's a mechanical, physical, engineering, huge structure, we did give inputs on changing the design and it was changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's a perfect example. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
To the website which had an art walk for me, I would have gone there. I'm just
I know.
I'm just pushing my.
Yeah.
And that's something, if I make it, that's something we can do for free. The website for free, it doesn't even cost anything, so I can, we have staff.
Just
I
But let's
put photos of.
It's very easy to make
Absolutely.
websites. Yeah, I can make
Well,
websites.
not easy.
I can. They're very simple.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It'll be a like go-to place, right?
Yeah.
Cupertino can be a South Bay little hidden art center.
Okay, I will also tell you a little bit more on that.
Sure.
So there is some information. I did not want to interrupt you.
Oh.
There's an information on all the public art pieces in Cupertino, where they are and how to go. I believe there's also a GPS art tour paths.
There's an
It's
app,
there.
Are
There's
you
an app.
serious?
Cupertino Art
I was
Tour.
feeling so chuffed that I came up with an original idea.
So there have been commissioners before us who have done very good work.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
And I worked with it.
that is there. I had used
But
it,
I-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something exists, but we can always do
There is
better.
definitely,
Always
And
do better.
consolidate.
and that's where I took
And
that
publicize.
comment, there's more work to be
Yeah,
done.
and some of these potential dollars
Yeah,
for
yeah.
marketing this.
Yeah.
Right, because it's visibility. Anyway,
All right.
Well, the Jollyman Park piece is being, they actually have a video of it already, so we've done, I think it's gonna be open, very grand open
Yeah,
early
Dennis.
next month. June 12th, I think, something like that, so if you go on like YouTube, what do you call those quick videos, YouTube,
Shorts.
short, yes.
Sure.
I
It's
call
there.
my kids know.
so savvy.
Yeah. YouTube Shorts, they have them up there. It's- we have a very talented video team that made a video
Very nice.
of the whole structure,
Okay.
which includes the art piece as
Okay.
well. So, but I think the website can be done really, I'll try to tell you what, that'll be an action item for me.
This is a prototype and.
Yeah, I mean-
Ideation.
We can probably get it done by the next meeting, actually, or something rudimentary.
That'd be so nice.
How are we doing with this agenda? What else? Should we just take a round? Anything else? Any other feedback on this item? Please.
I think we started,
Sure.
but we didn't finish
Yes.
going through the 2 or 3 items that we wanted
Yes.
to see.
Yes, yeah, let's do that.
Mine.
Please do. And I also have.
So I really liked all of the, I really liked all of the ideas that
Yeah.
were, for, sorry. The ones that I wanted to add. So first, art in unexpected places. So this is murals in the city or city-owned properties. It's an existing program, and I think, with funds, we could really make this into a larger thing. I think so far there's only been one commissioned art piece with this, but I would love to see murals in more places,
Yeah.
underutilized spaces. Second is rotating art gallery on some city property, for example, library, city hall, or Quinlan.
Mhm.
And then third is community grants for local artists or art projects or art organizations.
Yep.
Community grants, sorry.
Yeah, community grants.
Yeah.
For local artists.
Yeah.
Art projects or art organizations.
Okay,
Very nice.
sounds good. Yeah, great, thank you. Thank you. You still also agree that you will send your list to,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
just reminding again,
Yes.
everyone, so that we capture them. Commissioner Chen, you were not present at the last meeting, so you are welcome to share if you have any ideas about what new initiative we can do in.
So far not.
Okay, you're doing the art. show.
Doing well.
You're ahead.
Very good workout.
Fantastic.
Welcome to this art show on set.
Okay,
I'm coming.
please,
So
please.
thank
send.
you.
I'm traveling, but I'll surely, we'll see the pictures on the site.
Make sure, Chen, you can send them a flyer.
Sure,
Share it.
Yeah, sure. I will email it to you.
Yeah, email it to me.
Yeah.
I had a few ideas. Something we have talked before, so if you think they are repetitive, especially for vice chair, but I still want to repeat them because we have some new commissioners. So one was the art tour, for example, the app, but I was thinking even to do an art tour in the summer in cooperation with our Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
To have some kind of a tour for young youth in the city, so.
So you're thinking like a walk or a,
No, I'm thinking, I don't know how, but
Okay.
it's right now.
Okay.
I was actually thinking a bus.
yeah.
That's a good
We
idea.
have the via, from the Cupertino city.
Mm.
We have that $1 or whatever, $2.
Cooper.
Talking about
the Cooper?
No,
Yes, yeah.
it's a hopper.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, it's there.
Commissioner Roa, can I say, we could potentially expand that to doing one for seniors?
Oh, that too.
Because somehow we need to
Why
bring
not?
seniors and we
Why
kind of,
Yes, I do a lot of volunteering in senior center. And I teach at Bombay Jam. So I go there a lot. That's why I was asking her that all these are seniors. They want to go so many places, but they do not.
They can't, they cannot go.
They want, I will work for them to get the grant for the conveyance. That's what my objective is. So they are so enthusiastic, but they don't have ride and they can't drive. So it's very difficult for them to go any.
Amazing.
That's something very helpful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The other, we had also talked about we have a lot of cultural festivals in Cupertino, and we are very blessed with that, and that's great. And I'm glad you're doing the art show, and that's what we had talked about one time, is to do like art and wine in the park or something like that. We could still combine it with culture because that keeps the activity near the podium, and if one decides to do in Memorial Park.
Yeah,
It's such a center place, so you still have the dancers and the performers and some music, but kind of for walking. So I'll give you an example, and you all may have experiences on Mother's Day. I was in San Francisco with my son who lives there. And after lunch, we went to this park. He lives in North Beach area. And of course, there were artists there. And I could have spent, we didn't have that much time, we spent another 2 hours. Beautiful artists. They were selling, some were youth, some were seniors, all
Yeah,
with their own
Yeah.
kind of a theme. And they are just standing on the easel. So really, it was beautiful, especially for that day of mother and child kind of that walk. So if we can do something, and it could be on Mother's Day, I don't know.
Yeah, we can.
I love Mother's Day.
Actually,
Or any other day.
Mother's Day, Father's Day,
Any other day.
Wednesday Day.
Any day.
But what my objective is, we need to have a say or place or a role, a responsibility in whatever is happening. In that way, we actually justify our role.
That is exactly what I thought,
Right.
because there are a lot of others, but we focus more only on art, so not on the booths and so on. Even if there are booths, everything is to do with art, everything. But we can partner, we can find local nonprofit partners.
Right.
They are there, Rotary's there. But again, right now it's an idea. We can discuss it if it really has.
Started, like, how do we, talk to the council or people that give us some place there? So
Yes.
we have to get it started somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you can put it.
I'll share all the ideas with everyone, whichever we decide to go forward, that together, I think we'll put in our energy towards. Yeah. And I think we talked about one artist feature talk. We could do that in the library. Again, it's just an idea. And we have talked about, as Vice Chair said, about semi-permanent or a permanent exhibition of our art in our community. If we can use any of the city facilities to do that, kind of brighten
I
up
like
the
that.
place. So
You can even have Wilson ceramics people, or Creekside or Wilson, whatever it's called, the ceramics thing.
Yeah.
Use that as a periodic display.
yeah, or periodic display.
Yeah.
Those are my ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Great.
Your
I
feedback.
like that energy in this new idea.
Okay,
True
okay.
brainstorm.
Yeah, we do have an agreement with Main Street to use it.
We do?
Ah,
Wow,
Oh,
that's a,
We never use it.
look at that. This is.
that's a great one.
Actually, I like this, the Main Street idea.
Yeah. Food, wine and
What's
art.
the agreement?
It's there.
I can.
Or else, just arts and culture, the name of our commission, art and culture,
Culture.
Cupertino,
In Main Street.
in Main Street, yeah.
I think, I like this.
Let's do it, let's do it.
Are we all
That-
excited?
That's such a high traffic area. It
Yeah.
should be
I'm done, bro.
And it's wonderful because of the foods.
The food, seriously. food.
And I love that walking. and-
Donald?
Is this could be
I
our
passed a
first.
new law about that, walking around the
Let's do it.
entertainment district.
Let's make one festival, which is like, how about we can take July 4th, Independence Day, and we can do some arrangements, some event planning, and feature our commission that we are organizing it. And we can put a lot of, art, music, culture, everything together, different communities. That will be very exciting on Main Street. And people will be there by default. We can also market it to get more people so that we are launched and we can portray of some activity that we are really planning and doing it. Instead of just in this table, let's go.
So, yeah, we have to always work with the timing when we're working on these things. But something just triggers to me, and also, again, we have to check it offline. Chamber of Commerce does, the wine, what do they call it? Wine walk, and yes, in the Main Street. We
Oh, they
can
do?
partner with them to add arts to it, if we want to.
We should add that to our potential list.
I can check
Yeah.
with the Chamber
Go
of
with that.
Commerce.
Yeah. Okay.
Shall we close this discussion here, or do we want to do anything specific with what we have talked
Quick
about?
question.
Please, yes.
What are the next steps for the policy generation?
So now that we know that SB Creates is gonna send some stuff, I can come back one more time in July. And just kind of massage it, not knowing that we can actually use it more, that the directors use the funds beyond the physical art,
Yeah.
stuff like that too.
Yeah.
And I'd like to run my draft by them before coming back in July. Do you know that July is a parks and Justin can come back with ideas for themes for the arts awards? So that might be somewhat of a. Well, I think, I mean, I don't recall like hour and a half discussion we've had in the past, but, you know. The themes, but maybe it won't be that long.
July 28th is the next meeting.
That's right, that's correct.
Okay, so that's the next step.
Yeah.
If we are all okay with it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Besides us sending bullet items and you kind of creating us.
Remind us, how long do we have for this city work item?
So it's not a work program item anymore, but because we've been continuing from it as a prior. I think it's okay.
Did it get discontinued?
It's not on the work program yet, so it's not on the work program anymore, so, but. My discussion, city manager's office was, we've already started working on it, just. Come up with policy. Why not? I think that should.
So that's a good point that the vice chair brings, that if we bring it, if we review it in July, and we agree on whatever changes have been made, what would be the timeline after that?
So, I mean, for July, then we can go to planning commission and. I think I have a meeting in August, the council, I told my director in the city manager's office that we do it, this will be done by fall 2025.
Okay, so I think that's our target.
Let's make sure that we
Yeah.
keep on cranking towards that.
Yep.
And the only reason why we're going
That's
to
what-
planning commission is because we're updating the zoning.
Yeah.
That's the only reason, otherwise we can go straight to council.
Okay, so also you will have to help us be on the agenda for the plan.
Yes, my director's do that.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that may still all fit in, right? Okay.
So when the planning commission decides, do we all join or is like they just get our points?
So I think typically. Someone from the commission, usually the chair, vice chair will go to at least council to present, or planning commission to present. Just to represent the commission and decision and kind of, it gives validation what staff's present. Just to say this is what we discussed and this is why we discussed and whatnot. That's kind of a newer way of newer approach we've done at least within the last year. But, so yeah, I anticipate someone from the commission, planning commission and the council.
Okay. That should not be a problem.
Bye bye. We request for one badge for us, new commissioners.
Let me see if there's budget for it. The part where they are new badges.
But we have zero funds.
I'll see.
Administrative costs, not the entry.
I'll ask again, so.
Show up in the different events, right?
I don't even, I want my badge too.
Cupertino, other
I
than
love
the
the badge.
library one.
They even come back our business cards, so.
No, actually, the badge looks very good because when I go to a lot of events, so that one actually adds a lot of value to your existence there. It's like professional and government stamp, like you're something there.
I'll talk to the city clerk.
Thank you so much.
You had a
So it was not on this topic. If you're going to close this, I have one quick question. for you.
We'll always do a round before closing, so definitely go ahead.
Okay, so,
Just go
Okay.
ahead with your comment.
okay, so we had discussed in the last time the potential to increase our visibility, getting a tour of the Palo Alto Art Center, which is a public-private partnership.
Yeah.
John talked to the city legal team,
City clerk, yeah.
city clerk. And basically what we have to do is publish the agenda and say it's open for public to join, right?
If it's the whole commission at once, but you can go in groups of two,
Okay,
so.
so
So please can you help us because I'm a little bad in connecting. If you can make us all go together, it'll be fun. We can discuss and
So-
also share ideas.
so let me propose,
Yes,
okay? If everyone is interested, it'd be great to go together.
I agree.
Okay, and you know, and it's not like we having it's be a public session. I can request the art center director, Karen Kinzel, to give us a walkthrough of the exhibits and the art center and give us a talk on public-private partnership model that they follow there. Right, so that could be of interest in the future there. And what I would need is, and I'm happy to drive everybody, I can take 5 people in my car. To the team.
Go. All sounds.
So, maybe we need 2 cars. what I would want from everyone is, if everyone's interested, I would want to have some like weekdays, weekends, which, what do you prefer? I can go to Karen and come back with a couple of dates for that. If everybody's up for that, I'm gonna ask Karen. John, I'm looking at you again. Brown business is a little confusing to me, so can I solicit, like, tell me dates?
So it looks like you are making a proposal for a future agenda item to make, is that how we have to capture it? What do we do?
Yeah, so I mean, it's already been a future agenda item as the last
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
Commissioner Len and I have discussed it offline and I've discussed with the city clerk. We probably have to post an agenda. If there's gonna be more than two commissioners at once going, which means the public, anyone from the public can join.
It's a public outfit, anybody?
Yeah, there you go.
No issue.
In terms of transportation there, you know, I don't know. That's a great question. You know, City of Saratoga does site visits. Their planning commission does site visits the day before a hearing. If there's an agenda item for physical development. So it's not out of the question to do it. It's not unusual. Let me just see the process.
Yes, just let us know.
Yeah.
Could you recommend that? For the logistics? And again, as I said, I'm happy to drive.
So is the direction to say the preferred direction is the commission could all go at once rather than having four different tours?
Yeah, together is better, together is better.
I think
Whoever can.
whoever can, like it to go
Miss one
together.
or two, that's
Probably better for the director.
Yeah.
I think different tours at once.
Yeah, so if you can just
Sure.
coordinate that further, as far as actual driving, we can all
Yeah,
drive, so you don't
driving
have to worry
is
about that.
there. And I was going to propose that in addition, maybe we also go to the only other destination I know, the only one in Cupertino, which is the Euphrates. This one, so we can.
On a second occasion,
On a second occasion.
that's okay, yes, thank you.
Okay.
So noted, yeah, all right.
We are learning so many new things from you. I mean, I didn't know so many things
Neither did I.
existed.
Is there any input or any item anyone wants to bring to our attention? No, okay. Staff and commission reports, is there anything?
Just, you know, a couple updates on new, like we talked about John Park, that's done. So there'll be grand opening next month. I'll send out an invite to everyone. Westport is done. Go ahead and visit it. I'll see if the developer's open to having a grand opening or some ribbon cutting for the RVs or whatnot. Their plaque is not on yet, so I'll wait for that to happen, but seating area looks smaller than I thought it would be, but the statue's bigger, so my perspective's fully off, but looks nice design. What else? We don't have any projects looking to be approved this year. So probably looking 2026 before we really have a discussion on the fees versus the physical RPs on site. My understanding is that the lieu fees is the preference among, we have about 10 different development projects to go through, so 2026 will be a busy year. So if that's the case, we'll have a lot of lieu fees coming in, possibly millions, if everyone chooses to do so, which is great. I mean, if that's the preference of the commission to do, it gives us a lot of go to program as well. So I mean, that's really it that I have to say. I think I have a marching order for the other agenda item. So hopefully I'll get that out. So July starts the season of the Arts Awards in terms of, you know, getting a theme in July, then the November meeting will be voting on the art pieces. So,
Okay, we've talked,
Do you have an update on the communications department doing an article or publicity piece around recently unveiled art contracts?
I've been talking with them and they think that they can get something out by the next, by fall, late summer, fall, they should have, whatever, a local action.
Do they need an input from us?
I did say there's some interest from commissioners to be interviewed, so I think that's definitely a possibility. Unless there's something that you think they need to focus on.
It's more of an offer.
Yeah.
If it would be helpful for the article, I'm sure one of us wouldn't mind doing an interview.
Perfect.
They should highlight the commission's role your general visibility is good for this commission, especially if we are getting towards the in lieu business.
Okay. Thank you. Future agenda setting, any other items? No, we've already discussed it. We didn't do anything about public comments. I guess we didn't have any and didn't require any, and there's nobody on live.
I think the only thing is, and you gave the mayor's.
Yes.
Is Wednesday?
It's tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
What's tomorrow?
It should be actually
It's
Wednesday.
tomorrow's the city
It's-
council meeting.
Sorry, it's 21st.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. Yes, it's on 21st. So mayor's meeting is, the mayor meets with the chairperson of each commission. And now the last one was in March. And she has decided to do once every 2 months, but all in person, which is a different format. It has been varying over the post-COVID times. But now it's going to be in person. The next one being nicely is Wednesday, so I can report on today's meeting. And I will bring the feedback from other commissions in our July meeting. So that's what I have right now. So no new mayor's meeting took place from the time I reported in March. Yeah, okay.
I think the only other thing I can report is that thinking about bringing back the hybrid format for commissions in terms of
Oh.
having people who at home want to make a comment, call in, whatnot. The only other thing, the possibility that, you know, I had to have a different deputy clerk here to assist with management of those calls.
So for the public, Joe, sorry.
Yes, possibly it's public.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
commissioners are participating physically,
Yes.
but, you know, the public can call in.
But that was already in.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
For plan commission and city council, that's the option, but we don't have that option.
Oh, I really also,
I didn't realize that.
okay.
So.
No, well, I know we don't have any,
Yeah.
but I thought, okay. I think that was it. So just on that note, because we do have, but I'm sure you know, we meet once every 2 months. Which is, and you see, we do discuss quite a lot. I think when I came in, I was also pleasantly surprised. It is enough. It's not a dormant commission.
This is exciting.
And especially the next few months as we go on to the Artist Award, it is a lot of work. So also do request everyone to be present. I say that to myself too. Try to keep travel out as much as possible, but the input and presence is really appreciated and really valued.
I already changed my July travel date.
You did.
Postponed.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And some of the dates we have changed. So
Yes.
please take note because of like this one was changed because of the.
It's one more that thing.
Third Monday, I remember, every alternate month or.
Yeah. But it's been changed in November also because of the Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving.
Monday to November 17th.
John sent one list. I just noted in my calendar from.
Those are correct.
There, he has given, so that was perfect.
Those are correct. Yeah. Thank you. So with that, we can adjourn the meeting. We adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Right.
Awesome.
Thank you.